Hey everyone, Roger with Barbell Box, bringing you our first episode of Outside the Box with Dr. Kwadwo Kyeremanteng, also known as Dr. K. Doctor, motivational speaker, business owner, and author of Prevention Over Prescription. Join us as we take a deep dive in understanding his mission and the true value he was bringing to the overall healthcare system. Okay, Dr. K, welcome to the show. We are extremely excited to have you on here. This actually marks the first official guest for Outside the Box by Barbell. So we're really pumped to have you, and you are near and dear to us. You're a special friend of mine, and I've had the privilege of knowing you now for about a year, and we've had some amazing chats and discussions. But really, I'm super excited to get you on here to really talk about you. You're a multi-dimensional, layered, very sophisticated individual, and you come with so much intrinsic value. It's unbelievable. From author to doctor, motivational speaker, to a business owner in the sports nutritional world, man, there's so much you just do, and it's so impressive that we need like 6 hours to go through all this, but we're gonna try to jam it in as fast as we can. But I want to begin with obviously welcoming you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And first off, please explain who you are and what you do today and perhaps where we're finding you.
Number one, this is going to be, I'm the first, but it's going to be the best
You got
episode.
it. You got
We're
it.
going to rock this, Rogers.
You got it.
Second of all, thanks. Honestly, you've been an absolute joy to get to know and really inspirational yourself in terms of the hustle and the drive and the commitment to family and everything. So just wanted to get that out of the gate. So for myself, simply put, I'm an ICU doc. I run the ICU at the Ottawa Hospital and have been on a significant, purposeful mission to get people not to see me in ICU. And this stemmed from my experience in the pandemic when I saw way too many people suffering from during that time, and I had the big aha moment when I saw vast majority of people were in the ICU because of lifestyle modifiable concerns, so obesity, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome. And once that aha moment happened to me and I said like, hey, if we could focus on prevention and we get people on a healthier path, not only are they going to reduce their risk of landing in hospital because of like COVID, but they're also going to be reduce their risk of heart disease, stroke, other infections, fertility, cancer, all these things. So this has been my path at a high level, is just how do we get people to avoid seeing someone like myself in the intensive care unit.
I love that, man. And you know, again, we've had several conversations about this, but you mentioned the one word that I think means the world and I think has the most value, and that's prevention. And I believe prevention is associated to mindset. And if people have the mindset to truly understand and believe that prevention is an achievable goal, regardless of whatever medical history them or their family may have, the idea around it is you know, the tactics and the processes that you've developed and that is simply so intuitive for people to follow. Prevention is very much achievable. And you know, we're going to get to this, but I mentioned you're an author and you wrote an incredible book called Prevention Over Prescription, and it should be beside everyone's bed. It's literally, you know, the Bible of how you kind of live your day by day. In this book, and we'll get to it in a little bit more detail, but in this book really goes through a very intuitive way of giving you kind of a sense of a bit of a novel to read through the story of understanding health from a perspective that you can understand, which is really appreciative, but also a bit of a journal workbook approach where you are now really, you know, incentivized to kind of put in that work in the book to follow that process that you're essentially explaining for people to do. But on that note of prevention, I really want to talk about it, how important it is for people to understand it. And you're such an advocate for it. So explain to me, you know, if someone has family history of heart issues, cancer, gut issues, or any other medical history that they're concerned that, genetically, they may get to it themselves, regardless of what they can do. How does prevention play a huge role in that? And what are you explaining to people that, whether it's today or 10 years ago, they can implement and be a completely different person, or even 10 years from now?
Yeah, great question, Roger. And what it simply comes down to is you need to control what you can control. And you can't control your genetics. You can't control some of your life circumstances. Sometimes, as an example, in my line of work, a lot of shift workers, so they can't always get that high quality sleep. But what can you control? You can control what you eat. You control how much you move. You can control your social connections. So to me, that's the biggest point that we need to come across is what is something in my sphere that I can implement. And often it's not something that's going to be a big lift. And that was part of the one of the main principles of the book, Roger, is like, I don't want you to recreate your world. I don't want you to necessarily go through your cupboard and go get rid of everything that's ever existed. I want you to think about within your current lifestyle, what's the easiest lift? And often that might be just increasing your protein slightly or significantly, depending on where you're at. It might mean instead of having that 5,000 steps, let's try and get to 7,000 steps by parking further away, by using the bathroom above or below you in terms of at work. It might be incorporating exercise snacks, doing squats every half an hour or an hour. Something that is not a huge lift that could give you the biggest impact. Because I'll tell you, when you come to the point where you're seeing someone like myself or needing the acute care system at all, often you're not coming back the same person. Some of you are, but too many people I've seen do not come back the same person. That means not doing the stuff that they love to do, not being able to interact the same way, or not even getting home again. So this is why I want people to just reinforce that point that control what you can control and reap the benefits.
Yeah. And it's amazing because, there's parts in the book and there's obviously parts of, our discussions that we've had before. And I've always, questioned this and how you manage it. So prevention is such a key thing in our day-to-day lives. Discipline to continue that prevention is equally, if not greater, importance on the consistency and the progress. And there's parts of your book where, for instance, a chapter of the power of protein, your ability to kind of consume the right amount of protein for what you need, and then really tracking your progress. And the reason why the tracking your progress could be an incentive or possibly the area where people regress is, in my belief, societally speaking, we're very much I want it done yesterday mindset. If it can't happen, and this is kind of the issue with, I guess, the concept of prescription is that there's an immediate fix, whereas prevention, that there's this longevity game, this ability to build foundational strength for the long run is kind of so key. How critical is it to understand that prevention doesn't happen overnight? It takes time. You need to track your progress. There's a level of discipline that you need to commit to and truly believe and understand you will reap the benefits of it down the road.
Yeah, and this is why it's such a hard sell, Roger, is because you're not going to, number one, if you're 33 years old and you got your beer belly and you're 20 pounds overweight, you don't really feel like your life is at risk, right? You feel like you're getting by, you feel like maybe at some point I'm going to turn things around, but there's no urgency. And the reason that we're on this platform is to create that sense of urgency, because we see what happens 10 years, 15 years down the road.
Sure.
And really tying it to what is your overall goal? You're now starting to have kids as a 33-year-old, or maybe you have a couple kids. Do you want to get to their wedding day? Do you want to be able to play with your grandkids? And so, to me, as you mentioned, you got to reinforce the purpose, the why. This is why, talking about purpose is so important. But also, how do we make it easy? How do we make it how do we make it easy for people that they don't have to feel overwhelmed, they don't feel that it's not attainable, and ultimately have them fall in love with the process. And this is one of the things that when it comes to our coaching, it's like, you're not gonna see results tomorrow, but I want you to be proud that you got to the gym. The fact that you, even if it's a 5-minute workout, you
small
got
wins.
to the gym.
Small wins.
And celebrate those W's.
Yeah.
And have something, and often you need someone to keep you accountable, but the fact that you got there, that's the win. Because I know if you create that habit, it's gonna come. It will come. And so this is, and once again, that the point that I think will distinguish what our message compared to a lot of other people is that we don't have to make it complicated. We don't have to make it as challenging as it has for that patient client in the past. Because a lot of people think they gotta do this CrossFit high rocks workout. They think they gotta do this like crazy overhead squats and all these things, when sometimes it's just incorporating those exercise snacks, moving your body a little bit more, doing those body weight exercises, and create that momentum.
Yeah. Yeah, and so great segue to kind of bring us back to this book. So, one thing I'll touch up on this book, and I've gone through it a couple of times pretty thoroughly, and the reality is that this book is ultimately your coach. And so, indirectly, you're coaching yourself through a tool like this book that keeps you motivated, but keeps you accountable in a very intuitive, simplistic way, where you're not overcomplicating and overwhelming yourself. Like you mentioned, if someone is at perhaps, call it starting at 0 and thinking that they need to get into a regimen that requires incorporating fitness and nutrition, thinking that it's all about, high intensity workouts like CrossFit or High Rocks, or even just doing something at the gym that they're not comfortable doing, I believe this book brings you to a reality where you start somewhere and you track the progress, your progress, which is so critical, not someone else's progress. And in a world where we live in a state of comparison through social media and other influential, applications that think that we need to be someone else, this book really talks about and guides you on who you are becoming a better version of yourself the next day, and better than who you were the day before. And so what I like about this is that it's for everyone. It's not for the ultimate athlete, and it's not just for the person who's starting out. It's for everyone, because there's a level of accountability that we all need to take. And I think it's safe to say everybody should strive to become the better version of who they were the day before, and this book really helps you out. What made you write this book? Because I know you're very passionate behind it. I'm very passionate behind this. I think this book is incredible. But what made you get up and say, you know what? I'm going to write this book, and this is my message. Here's how I want to deliver it. And I hope that millions of people get their hands on this. And really the idea is that it's not a thick book at all. It's a very simple read, and it's a traveler. You could take it wherever you want, and you don't have to necessarily finish it at the first sitting. It's bits and pieces. It's just your ability to kind of chunk this out. But what made you write this, and what inspired you? And are you inspired to continue doing more of this type of literature? Hey guys, are you stuck with what you're taking on a monthly basis or not really sure of what to buy? The Barbell Box offers you a great solution. Every month delivered to your home, you get a curated box of sports nutrition and wellness products, from snacks, beverages, protein to even greens. You might actually just find the product you're looking for before you make the financial commitment. Join us for your welcome box, get a deep discount, let us know what you think. Now, back to the video.
It's a great question. I'm going to try and give a concise version, but I learned the hard way, or the long way, that traditional ways of reaching people wasn't getting stuff done. So my background is I still am active in research. I developed a research group called Resource Optimization Network, and we produced almost 100 papers, right? And if I look at the impact, it was minimal. Like when you write an academic paper, when you go through the medical school and residency, that you're taught to do that, but you realize sometimes at most 1,000 people read read the abstract. And so after 5 years of this, I was like, something has to change. We got to approach things differently. So then I started to think about multiple channels on how to hit people. Started a podcast, started to be active on social media, started the book, reason exactly as you said, this is why we wrote the book, and made it thinking of the audience, not thinking about, what's ideal. I'm like thinking about, if I got that 43-year-old premenopausal woman that's got their 4 kids, that doesn't know where to start, how can I connect with them? How can I make them feel that you have the agency to get healthier, and convince them to get started? And so this is why I wrote it the way we wrote it. This is why we started to do books. And you asked me 10 years ago, would I ever be an author? I was like, no, that's some pipe dream. But now, I mean, this is our second book. We got a third one coming in late spring, probably early summer at this rate. And it's a channel for reaching people. And so this, to me, is, I don't see myself, I should be less negatives. I see myself continuing to do this in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and again, and I appreciate that, and appreciate the transparent response on this. And I think that I go back to kind of the influences that our younger generation is dealing with today, and really not having the ability to compare it to something that we grew up in a generation where we didn't have access to, I guess, all the information that is available to us today. It's interesting because, we have that ability to compare, where we get information today versus how we got it before, and our ability to kind of use it as we need to. Whereas now, I love the idea that this could technically be given to a 13-year-old who wants to understand the level of discipline and commitment and drive it takes to really become healthy at the foundational level, or somebody who's well into their 50s who may not have lived the right lifestyle and now wants to make this change because they're much more mindful of why they need to make a change. And it adapts and it connects with everyone. And that's what I love about this. And it becomes a tool that, if today were the day you pick it up, you can go through this book and you can ask yourself, if I were to implement everything Dr. K had provided me in this book 10 years ago, who would I be 10 years later, today? And I think that is motivation on its own. So today is day one. Every day is day one when you start. And then think to yourself, if I implement this, who am I in 10 years from then? And then this isn't a one and done. This is a continue to do it and try to level up your goals as you go on. And that's the beauty of this, is because it's literally it's a working document for yourself, right? And this is kind of the joy of it. And so if there's an ability to give us a sneak peek, what does book number 3 look like, and does it have similarities to what's in this book?
It's a great question. And honestly, Roger, you've given me so many more ideas and hope in terms of where to plant this book and the impact that it could have. And so I just want to thank you for the inspiration and the positive words. The third book here, the initial title is going to be Opportunities in Healthcare, and it's really motivated because the healthcare system is probably the worst I've seen it since starting my career. Long wait times in emerge, long times for elective surgery, a lot of people without family docs. And I see in the ICU the results of these things. And so as similar to you being an entrepreneur, I see a lot of opportunities that we should be tapping into yesterday, that some low-lying fruit that we could be rocking. And so there is an emphasis on preventative health for sure. I talk about the principles of the book and a methodology, I call it the PRESS method, where you talk about your purpose, your restoration, so sleep and stress management, eating/nutrition, S for strength/exercise, and the last S for social connection. But implementing that at scale, not just as an individual, but you go into a corporation, you go into a school, you go to a senior's home and say, hey, guys, we're looking collectively to get healthier. Let's look at these 5 pillars. Where are our gaps? And let's collectively challenge ourselves within one of those categories. So if it was exercise, let's have a collective goal for steps. If it
Right.
is social connection, let's make sure that we get together once a week at least, like little things like that to push the group. So there is a massive emphasis on the preventative health side, but then
Yeah.
I talk about AI, I talk about how we get primary care access, how we leverage virtual care. So it is should we be doing more of these public-private partnerships? So it's a lot of topics, but definitely a huge lens on the preventative health side.
I love that. And honestly, like you said, I think unfortunately this is really just the tip of the iceberg with respects to the broken system that we may be a part of. And I think holistically, I think there's aspects of the broken system in different countries around the world that are dealing with very similar things, and to different levels, obviously. Shifting a little bit of gear here. So I preface this with the fact that you are also a business owner. You have Guyata Nutrition, which is an incredible brand that has many SKUs within the sports nutritional space. Given kind of your pedigree, your understanding of products, this is one of the main connections we had obviously at Barbell Box, and the ability to kind of bring Guyata to the community. What made you want to develop a sports nutritional company with call it your typical mainstream products, if you will, but how do your products play into the prevention mission that you talk about?
So the big driver, two big drivers. One was in this space, it's hard to find trusted sources. And I wanted to be able to leverage our brand and our reach to say, hey, if you are looking for high quality protein powder, collagen, creatine, omega-3s, here is your source. MD vetted, Health Canada approved. I give it to my kids. This is the standard that I'm holding things to. So I think the idea of being able to say to folks, here, this is where you can go and do it safely. The second part was, I'm going to say this till the cows come home, pun kind of intended, that big protein fan. I'm a big emphasis on making sure you get enough protein, and to have a company that says, hey, you're going to have something that's delicious, top notch, high quality, and rock behind that. I was like, how can I say no? So this was a big, that's that was the main driver, to be honest with you. It's just, if I'm talking protein emphasis, here's a way of supplementing if you need that extra protein. Because I'll say this, and because making revenue isn't my primary driver. It's making a healthier population. So if this sounds counterintuitive as a protein owner, but I would rather you get your protein sources from whole sources. So if you're getting it from lean meats, wherever, like that's the primary. But a lot of you aren't able to do that. So
Sure.
if you have the option to get something that's high quality, this is where Guyata sits. And so this is the driver behind it, and it's been a lot of fun, Roger. A lot of fun.
Yeah, no, listen, you've got a great brand, and one of the things that I really admire about what you've done, and you spoke about this very briefly about, it's vetted, which is critical, because we live in a world where there is what feels like every day there's a new product coming on the market in every major category you can think of. And so from a consumer's perspective, part of our job at Barbell Box is really to be able to kind of curate a pretty good mix of products, for people to enhance their exploration of sports nutrition and wellness products on a regular basis. The challenge is, though, is that in most cases, you don't know who's behind those products and what the mission is as well, which is why I want to emphasize on your company, because you're standing behind your product from the perspective of a medical practitioner, as a father, and as an individual who has a mission to make people healthier. And so you want to deliver that, if you can, through a supplementary tool like your protein powder and your other products that have a good taste, has efficacy on the product, and there's a mission to it, right? Which is so critical. And I think, you mentioned this, we've talked about this 100 times, but you've also mentioned it, excuse me, in your literature, where it's, taking sovereignty over your health and your well-being, and really truly owning that and being able to be in full control of it. And I think, again, going back to your book and going back to the mindset, making this as simple as possible is what's going to have the biggest impact, in my opinion. And I assume you agree with me, because that's kind of the motto that you live by is, less is more. Don't overcomplicate it. Something as simple as park further away, go to a washroom kind of on a different level. Try to add in your steps periodically throughout the day, all compound to the objective you want to reach, as long as you maintain that discipline and that consistency, right?
100%. And I couldn't have said it any better, Roger. It is about simplicity. If I've learned anything over the years, is that people frown on simple in some ways, or they're adverse to simple. And I'm at the stage of life where, as an example, I feel like I'm looking to reduce. I'm looking to where can I eliminate aspects of life, or how do I simplify more? And so this is, to me, not only within health, but within life, within the way I operate. This is a high level of I really feel like this is where we need to go. It's the way I practice medicine too. Like, I'm not one of these doctors that will order 1 million tests. In fact, ironically, one of my biggest jobs I find when I'm on ICU is when the residents order tests, is to stop all the testing, and because for several reasons, but often those tests lead you down the wrong path if you get a false positive and so forth. So
sure.
I'm big on keep it simple, and you're going to reap the rewards. And this is where I'm trying to operate in life too, when it comes to my workouts. If it comes to the way I eat, if you see aspects of my life, like there's some obviously complicated aspects, but if you see from the fundamentals, absolutely keeping it simple, absolutely keeping it easy, and being that, attempting to not just say what the change is, but be the change. That's a big thing as a guy that's raising 3 kids. Mm-hmm. Mom and dad aren't just preaching. I want you guys to, we want to role model the behavior. And that's a big one for us.
Absolutely. Listen, mom and dad, for the most part, until kids are old enough to kind of go out on their own and be independent from mom and dad, you are the individuals that they look up to, and they mirror. And they get influenced by the habits that we develop and the discipline that we show. And whether that's consistently going for a walk to improve your health and increase your fitness levels, or just being mindful of what you're eating and picking the right things, because at the end of the day, we're influencing the next generation, and they're only going to mimic what we do, right? So it's super critical. I want to wrap up by kind of talking about your take on what you feel would be, I guess, and it's hard because everybody's different, but what's your top 3 products you think everybody should be taking on a regular basis, that you think covers a good wide array of just effectiveness?
Are we talking like supplements?
Supplements, sports nutrition, or just 3 things that people should be mindful that, like, look, you and I have talked about this. You're a huge advocate of rest, vitamin S, sleep. Get enough of it. People take it very for granted of the fact that in itself, it has become probably one of the most effective supplements you can take, which is get your ample rest. It does wonders for the body, weight loss, energy, mind clarity, etc. And if that's one of them, amazing. I think that should be one no matter what. But yeah, just overall, if people were to start out today, whether they're signing up to Barbell or just walking into their local nutritional store and saying, what should I take? I'm not taking anything. I want to kind of feel better and function different. What do you recommend?
I love this question. So number 1, in my opinion, right now, creatine is screaming that it should be in the hands of most people. So
women and men, right?
Women and men, absolutely. Yeah. So I know a lot of your audience knows this already, but we all know about the impact it's having on muscle. So you're going to increase your lean muscle, you're going to recover faster, you're going to be stronger. But the additional benefits that we're seeing in the literature is showing that it's improving your sharpness, your cognition, It's improving your mood. So for people that are more prone to anxiety and depression, we're seeing improvements there. Seeing at higher doses reduce dementia symptoms. So
wow,
this is a powerful supplement, and we know the efficacy. We know it's safe. And I know you're going to ask if does it damage your kidneys? No, it doesn't damage your kidneys. Yeah, it is powerful, and it's one of the few supplements I take on a daily basis. The other ones that I like, and these are in no particular order, vitamin D. I'm a big fan of taking vitamin D, especially those of us that are dark-skinned or in northern climates. Your immune system, your bone health, and very well tolerated. Most of us are going to be not optimal when it comes to vitamin D supplementation, so this is another one that I take on a daily basis. And then the third that I like, and I don't think you need to take it, but I like to take it, is the magnesium glycinate at night. I like it for the reasons that you talked about. Sleep is one of the cornerstones for health, and this is probably my kryptonite. This is the area where I need the most help with. And leading a stressful job and relatively stressful lifestyle, having something that just kind of eases that nervous system, that enhances sleep onset, to me only makes sense, and very well tolerated. You want to make sure it's glycinate, not oxide or citrate, or else you'll start pooping. But
okay.
To me, this is the top of the list for sure. And those are to be honest with you, those are the ones that I take every day. But I always like to kind of personalize it for people, like what their goals are and where they're struggling. But at a high level, Roger, those are the ones that I love.
Yeah, no, I love that. And thanks for sharing, because, I think at the end of the day, we're in this space as well. And we have the beautiful privilege of getting access to so many different products and that have so many different specific functions and objectives that you're trying to achieve. And the reality is, you just said it may not be for everyone. And you've got to pick what's right for you and where you are in your journey, at what stage and what you're comfortable with. But I think going back to the less is more approach, there are things that you can do. And if you're not able to get your hands on vitamin D, try to get yourself outside and spend 10, 15 minutes in the sun. And if you're not able to get your hands on magnesium glycinate, try to find a different pre-bedtime routine that allows you to settle down and kind of increase that natural melatonin in your body to just unwind and chill out. But I think the perspective here is that you need to do something. I think we're all kind of in this bit of a rat race, if you will, where whether it's a supplementary nutritional product, a change in your lifestyle and your habits, I think the reality is that it all comes down to ways to increase your prevention. And you are the owner and you control, the well-being of who you are every day. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate you. You're the man. Thanks for coming on. This was amazing. Like I said, I wish we have 6 hours to do this, because I could talk forever with you. You're just a gem. We are going to be putting up Dr. K's links to Guyata Nutrition, speaking engagements. If you wish that you'd like to bring him in, I highly encourage that. He's just a wealth of knowledge and probably one of the best personalities you'll ever get in a room, which is incredible. And then obviously a link to his amazing book, and hopefully his new book coming out, where you can find it on Amazon and your website at Guyata Nutrition. You can buy directly from there, and a link with us as well that you'll be able to get. Again, thank you so much. You're awesome. I appreciate you coming on. Best of luck with everything, and looking forward to maybe having you on again very soon.
Roger, this was awesome. Thanks for having me. Keep hustling, bud. You're an inspiration. And hopefully we start transforming some lives.
You got it, man. That's it, man. Thank you, man. Thanks everyone for jumping on Outside the Box. Really hope you enjoyed this one. Dr. K, you're the best. I love you, man. Hopefully we'll see you soon, all right? Keep doing your thing.